Dr. Rajkumar did refer to the ideologues who have influenced Manyavar Kanshiram sir. And you see that except one person, other four are primarily the OBCs. So you can very well understand that what was the kind of understanding with which Kanshiram Sahib was basically functioning. And the philosophy that basically comes from, which is known from the, let's say, conception of a reservation in 1902 with the Sahuji Maharaj. Generally, during his lifetime as well, there was an impression that Manyavar Kanshiram was against the reservation. But if you see his struggle, then he was never against the reservation. But what he was against is that what he wanted, in fact, was that in the longer run, we don't get dependent only on the reservation. But you see that the kind of movement that was established, that was primarily due to the beneficiaries of the reservation, the BAMSEF. And if you look at the BAMSEF, then BAMSEF was a collective of so many different kinds of communities, wherein OBCs were also part of that. Though OBCs may not have been in that number, but the larger agenda for Kanshiram Sahib was that we need to include the major segment of the society in the movement. Because if you look at the, let's say, post independent period, then in southern states, due to some movements, there has been awakening. But in northern India, there was not that kind of awakening. And people might think that the contribution of OBC reservation goes to VP Singh. Actually, if you read properly and look at the struggle of Manyavar Kanshiram, then you would see and realize that VP Singh did it politically, but the awakening that was done by Manyavar Kanshiram, that is actually of a major significance. Because when we look at Ambedkar's contribution was also for the benefit of the marginalized sections of the society, including the OBCs. And when he resigns from the cabinet, though popularly we know that he resigned from the cabinet in 1951 due to Hindu Code Bill, but he gives 6 incidents, or let's say 6 causes or reasons for resigning. And one of the reason was non-implementation of the appointment of backward class commission. And you see, in 1955, then the government of India appoints Kaka Kalelkar Commission. And that report, because the chairman of the committee itself did not agree with the report, so finally that report went to the dustbin. And when the Janata Party comes into power in 1977, 78, the Mandal Commission is established and it comes out with its report. So, from the establishment of Mandal Commission to, let's say, 1990, who was struggling for the implementation of the Mandal Commission? And you would find that it was actually Manyavar Kanshiram Sahab, that he was the one from 1978, the kind of visualization, the kind of vision he had in the name of BAMSAFE, and then coming to the kind of Mandal Commission, therein he had this understanding that we need to awaken the OBCs of this country. And for that matter, you would see that in 1985, when there was a talk about this Mandal Commission, though Mandal Commission was not being talked in during those times by the political parties. And he was the one who actually organized 500 symposiums all over the country, 4 major seminars, and around 100 cycle rallies to implement the Mandal Commission. So you can understand that what was the kind of vision for him when we look at the OBCs. And then you see, even during those times, there was an anti-reservation agitation going on in Gujarat. And these rallies or these symposiums were actually in the light of that. And when it finally culminated, then I would just like to tell you this, that when this movement was actually organized, which was known as pro-reservation movement, it had 15 points. And out of these 15 points, 7 points are related with the OBCs. I can just cite few, wherein he says, to awaken the OBCs about why they are without any recognition and rights even today, whereas the SCs and STs got them in 1932, and further moved forward over the years. To move the OBCs forward to get due recognition and their rights. And similarly, there are few other points that he is referring to. And this is in August 1985 that he is talking about the OBCs. Then, during this period itself, there was a winter session of the parliament, and for 3 long months, there was a dharna by the BSP, BAMSAFE and DS4 in favor of the OBC reservation, that the Mandal Commission should be implemented. In front of Parliament, in front of Parliament Boat Club, it was finally actually culminated at the Boat Club. Now, you see that the kind of mission with which Manyavar Kanshiram was talking about, when we say Bahujan, in the Bahujan itself, who are the majority? If you look at that way, that in the Bahujan he is saying scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs and minorities. But who are the majority in the Bahujan itself? OBCs. So the conception of Bahujan is actually having a significant number of the OBCs, and that is what the realization that he wanted need to be had in this country. Then when he starts his politics, 1989, election in UP, you see that there were 78 communities of UP which were OBCs, which never sent any of the representatives, leave aside in parliament, not even in the state assembly. And herein, Kanshiram Saab gives tickets to 11 people, 14 people. And out of these 14, 2 get elected. Then in the next election, which took place in 1991, he gives it to 22, and 4 of such communities which had never seen the doors of or entered the doors of the assembly, they entered the doors of the assembly. And interestingly, when the first government is established or formed by BSP with the Samajwadi Party, during that time, 11 ministers were appointed. And all 11 were OBCs. All 11. And all 11 were those OBCs which never entered the state assembly. When the names were being announced, because when the oath taking ceremony takes place, then everybody was shocked that we have not heard even the names of these castes. And those castes were given a representation by Manyavar Kanshiram. And the story goes on, and you see that when this SP-BSP government comes into power, then why he would have the alliance with Samajwadi Party? That means he also knew that the larger Bahujan Samaj will be actually made or constructed only through these kinds of alignments. Though he may not have agreed with some of the propositions of the Samajwadi Party, because Samajwadi Party never gave representation to these 78 communities. And then he agrees that the one OBC should be the chief minister of the state. That means that his commitment towards the OBC representation was something which was with lot of conscience, with lot of conviction, and also with lot of, let's say, wherein there was an understanding that the OBC community needs to be represented. Another thing that politically what we need to understand, that why VP Singh would be implementing the Mandal Commission. When these elections took place in 1989 and later on, no, I think 1989 first, then if you look at the percentage of vote between BSP and the BJP, they were very close actually. It was less than 10% votes, which both the parties got. That time Congress was in power, Congress was replaced, and Janata Dal came into being, and the Janata Dal had its own government. But why VP Singh would be implementing the Mandal Commission? Because there was a lot of voice which was being created by the BAMSAFE, by the BSP and the DS4, though DS4 has actually by that time had become insignificant. So through the struggles of BAMSAFE, BSP under the leadership of Manyavar Kanshiram Sahab, I think the OBCs OBCs were brought on the table, or let's say on the horizon of this country, political power, and that's where from the OBCs become important. Another thing, I was just listening to him last night. He was also very categorical in saying that ब्राह्मणवाद को कौन अपने सर पे उठाए हुए, सर पे नहीं कंधों पे उठाए हुए. And he gives that example wherein these people, Kavadiyas, when they go for that procession, whole procession, therein he says that the Kavadiyas whom of them, majority of them are coming from the OBC community, they are carrying the Brahmanvad on their shoulders.
Contradiction.
And that is what actually is proving in this country now. And from that, we need to be little careful that how things are unfolding in the country. And actually, those who were supposed to be the leading lights of this movement, they have become the foot soldiers. And that's why the movement of the marginalized is facing lot of challenges in the present circumstances. And you know very well that the politics of Kamandal and Mandal. Kamandal politics was brought because of the Mandal. Now, those who used to burn the complete kind of bus stops during the Mandal agitation, they themselves are demanding that we also need Mandal Commission reservation. We also want to be OBCs. I am talking about the Jats of Haryana. So, what basically I think the contribution of Manyavar Kanshiram is that awakening of the scheduled caste was done by and large by Baba Sahib Ambedkar, but the awakening of the OBCs was done primarily by Manyavar Kanshiram Sahib. And that is what actually we need to understand, and I would like to emphasize upon. And I think with that I'll stop. Thank you very much.